Hi, welcome to Clutter Bravado.
Yes, and it's the energy. It's not just about the stuff.
So we should probably just get into it, right?
Let's go.
Good afternoon, Laurent.
Good afternoon, Elyse.
How are you feeling?
Truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm feeling okay. Okay. I had a great weekend.
Great.
Day was good. We went to, you and I this morning went to see a new project, which could be very exciting. My car is giving me some issues as well as my fridge. So, those are things that you think are going to last forever. Mm-hmm. And like everything else, nothing lasts forever.
Nothing lasts forever.
So I'm just dealing with that this afternoon a little bit. But I'm here with you, which is amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Doing work with me is great.
It's fun.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, I would not be doing it. That's
I love
for sure.
that I bring a little sunshine to your life. Would you describe it that way? At least it's better than just like being here by yourself.
No, it is.
It's entertaining, I'm sure.
I love our podcast, and
yeah.
I love hanging out with you, and so it's good. No, overall, it's very good. How's your weekend?
My weekend was fine. I didn't do much. I did teach a lot of yoga this weekend. I don't know, like anyone who's looking at this right now can probably tell I look a little sleepy. And it's because last night I taught an 8:30 p.m. yoga class last night. See, I used to, when I first started teaching, I taught a 9 p.m. class.
On Sunday night?
No, on Wednesdays.
Yeah, but see, Sunday night, 8:30, who are the weirdos that take a fucking yoga class at that time?
Okay, listen.
What?
You just called my students weirdos.
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, you're not wrong. But
I'm like, it's Sunday night, 8:30.
I get it, though.
I mean, watch fucking Love Island, for God's sake.
You're swearing so much today.
Sorry.
Are you in a mood? It's the car and the fridge. I understand. I get it. What about Love Island?
Sunday night was the season finale of Love Island, so I don't know why.
Did you watch it?
No, I did not.
Did you watch it?
No, I did not.
I know that you're secretly into it, even though you like make fun of it. You do talk about it a lot, and I have a feeling that when I'm not here, you're secretly just like watching Love Island.
No, there are a few things that just are completely fascinating to me.
Yeah.
People who voted for Trump and people who watch Love Island. I don't understand either. Very different crowd, but I don't understand either.
Do you think there's a Venn diagram of the two?
No, I mean, Chloe and Alex are watching it, and they're very much into it. I just don't understand. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a social. I mean, it's an age thing. It's a generational thing.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I just don't get it. But I don't get people that go to a yoga class on Sunday night at 8:30 either. So there's a lot of things I don't get.
I get that. See, I've taken that class before. I do like taking a hot yoga class before bed because you get so tired and you just want to lay down. Now, what happened with me last night teaching it is that when I teach it, I don't have that relaxation feeling. I like get all hyped up when I teach. So last night when I was trying to go to sleep, it took me so long to finally calm down. And then I had crazy, weird dreams all night. And then I woke up early this morning to go work out. And it's almost as if I didn't have a weekend at all. I don't know that I rested.
Oh, that feeling?
Yeah. I just kind of feel like I've been going and going. And this week is jam-packed full of stuff. It's very exciting, though. I have a couple of projects right now that I've got a lot of work to do for. So that's neat. And then... I do want to touch on this one thing, though. Have you seen the movie Sinners?
No.
You didn't see it?
Not yet.
Okay, so I just watched it for the first time yesterday. It's on HBO now. And loved it. Loved it. Top to bottom, beautifully written, an incredible story. It is a dynamic movie. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. I love that film. It's spectacular. That being said, it made me miss playing music. I miss it a lot. We also had a guest on, which is going to be coming up in a couple episodes. So
stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
And subscribe.
And definitely
Please.
Subscribe because we've got some really great guests coming up. But we did an episode with a friend of ours who is tapped into the creative community. And he's a poet and He is surrounded by musicians and artists, and we talked a lot about like purpose and that creative drive, and it stuck with me so much. And then to see this movie, which I'm not going to spoil it for you, but music is involved, and it made me really miss writing music. I haven't written a new song since 2020. And
So is that going to change, or?
I feel like it has to.
Okay.
I feel like there's something in me that's like calling out to write music again. But here's the thing. So I want to talk about this a little bit, because for other creatives who might be listening to this, or people who work for themselves, people who are chasing their passions, I have many of them.
Right.
And whenever I let one of them fall to the wayside, it feels like I'm not being entirely myself. And teaching yoga, for example, I love doing that, and I can't imagine letting it go. First, because I get a free membership at the studio that I teach at, and that's valuable to me. but also I love my students. I love teaching. Right. I love being involved in that community. I love writing. When I'm not writing, I don't feel like I'm tapped in or in tune with myself. And music has been such a huge part of my life since I was so small. I wrote my first song in the 4th grade. Like, that's crazy. Who does that? I remember it too. But I've been writing music my whole life, and then I've taken some breaks from it. I took a break when I was like 17 until about 29, and then from 32 until now. And it feels like there's a part of me that's missing. And so I feel like I want to tap back into that. I don't know what that looks like. Maybe it's like sitting at my piano for an hour or so and seeing what happens. Maybe it's like running off to the mountains with a guitar like I've done before and seeing what happens, or it's hopping in a studio with a friend that I know is already recording. It's whatever it is. It's like I feel the need.
Just pick one, I guess.
Yeah. See, you make it sound so easy when you word it like that. Like, just go do it.
It's a lot about meditation, for example. Meditation is just get it done. I mean, there's no if or buts, or am I doing it well, or is it the right time, or is it the bad time? You have the piano at home. Go home tonight, and before you do anything, especially grab your phone, just sit in front of the piano. Yeah. And even if it's for 5 minutes,
sure,
just sit in front of the piano. Don't grab your phone. Don't go on Instagram, and people love you. Everybody is very happy that you're on Instagram. You don't need to check, and just be on the piano. I mean, I think it's just grab your guitar and start reacquainting yourself.
So I have this question for you then.
What?
For me to be a musician and a writer and an actor and a yoga teacher, does that make any work that I do in design any less valuable or valued? Considering that's a new venture that I'm taking on when I do have all of these other things within me.
There's a saying, I guess, I don't know if it's a saying, but if you do too many things, you don't do anything. I mean, there's at some point you do have to commit to, I mean, I do believe that you have to commit to one thing to become really good at it.
Yeah.
Dabbling into too many things make you possibly an amateur, not really a pro. I think that, acting, like music, like design, like writing, it's one of those careers that somehow you have to, I think, at some point choose. But, it feels like you're missing a huge part of you that was the writing, that was the acting, that was that artistic thing. And maybe it needs to be revisited. It needs to be, you need to figure out. I
mean it as a hobby. I don't mean like I want to make a career out of being a musician.
Are you sure?
I mean, am I sure? Yeah. Yeah. The business of music is what pulled me out of it. It hurt to write songs knowing that there was going to be someone scrutinizing it based on whether or not it will sell. Music is something that is so intrinsically a part of who I am that monetizing it felt so painful. It felt really painful. That's not something that I desire. Now, if people love it and they want to buy it and they want to come to my show, I love that. Absolutely. Please, by all means. But trying to make that my primary source of income is absolutely not something that I'm willing to subject my art to anymore.
I mean, I think that as a hobby, acting, you do quite a bit of casting. So
Yeah.
it's like, I think that
That's something that is still active. I do a lot of auditions and
Right.
self-taping and all that stuff. So that's always going to be a part of me for sure.
I mean, right now you have a couple design projects that
Mm-hmm.
are. I mean, yeah, they're starting. So you have a bit of things to do and be creative, and you're doing the podcast, you're doing some teaching. I mean, you're doing a lot, and
Yeah.
for now, look, you're juggling a lot. It's working for the most part, and then tonight, just there's time for you to sit down in front of the piano and play. So just
Yeah.
go have fun.
I'll get
And
into it.
you'll figure out we'll figure out what happens from there. I think that we all have that. I mean, today I made a big list, and there's a bit of time for me that I waste also on be it on TV or my phone that I should probably
On
be
watching
spending
Love
on
Island, you mean?
watching Love Island and whatever Papaya's name is, and and I think that I need to spend a little bit more quality time doing things that I enjoy more, that
Sure.
are more important, at least perceived
Yeah.
important. So
Well, thank you for your insight. I appreciate it. And speaking of things that I love to do, we interviewed a brand new person. This is someone that you didn't know, that I didn't know.
I know.
And that we were just like so inspired by her work. Harper Halprin, she is a co-owner of AAHA Studio. So it's AAHA with her husband. And they have an architecture and interior design firm. And they are a part of the Case Study 2.0 program. So we had a great time sitting down with her, talking about that, getting to know her also. She felt so familiar to me.
I know it was. We were all we were nervous because it's the first time that we had not met someone prior to the podcast, and
Yeah.
it went really well. She was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, should we get into it?
Let's go.
Welcome to Clutter Bravado. We are here with Harper Halprin. Hi.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Is it AAHA Studio? Do you pronounce
AAHA,
AAHA?
yes,
I love
yes.
that. That's really fun because it's Aaron and Harper, so
Correct.
AA and HA.
Yes.
I
And then we
love
thought
that.
we'd put an interesting spin. It's like your big idea, your aha moment. So,
That's great. So
Yeah.
it's an architecture firm.
architecture and interiors. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me your origin story. You are from LA, right?
Yes,
Okay.
correct. From LA, born and bred, both of us. And then we went to school at USC. So we were here kind of all throughout our youth, so to speak. And then I dragged Aaron to study abroad our 4th year of architecture school.
Where did you go?
We studied in Como, Italy.
Oh,
Not too shabby,
Not
right?
too bad. Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yes, we got to study in a villa overlooking the lake and live
Dramatic.
in the old city. So we were in the old city grounds. And I mean, I don't think when we were there we realized how monumental that
Yeah.
that really was.
Yeah.
It's funny,
But
yeah.
you know, fast forward many years and traveling the world a little bit more, I realized like that was just beyond.
How long were you there?
We were there for 6 months.
Oh my gosh.
Well, a semester, so I guess
Yeah.
5 technically. But it was a great program because
Mm-hmm.
we got to be with USC Architecture. There were 20 of us, and they would rotate professors in and out. So they would come in for like 2 or 3 week stays. We would get, lectured by them. Our studio would be there. We were there from December to, I guess, May.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would go once a week to the Polytechnic in Milan, and we would learn there.
Oh my gosh.
And we would do 3-week stints all over Italy. So we spent 3 weeks in Rome and 2 weeks in Florence and Verona, Vicenza for a little while. And right on the border of Switzerland, we would go into Switzerland all the time. And yeah, pretty special.
Wow.
A week in Paris.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So how did that actually influence your design style when it comes to architecture?
I mean, I think it's less about style and more just about being totally open to seeing the benefit and beauty of design, agnostic of style, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think it's really about how you're experiencing space. And Italy has obviously some of the most beautiful ancient architecture, right? The ruins in Rome, et cetera, et cetera. But then it also has, especially in Como, a huge brutalist movement, right?
Okay, yeah.
And so we studied Turani and a lot of the brutalist architects. And so those two styles are just, they're not comparable at all.
Yeah.
But you really see the beauty in all of them individually, and getting to travel the world, you get the benefit of really becoming style agnostic to a certain point.
Yeah, because you have also all the 70s and
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
That's
What
incredible.
I mean, from USC to
Yes.
it's gotta be
Yeah.
gotta be a learning curve.
And we didn't want to go home. So then we
Oh, yeah.
decided, well, let's spend the summer in London. So we hopped over to London and started working there for actually one of Aaron's cousins had a practice in London. So we got to practice architecture in London proper, which was great.
Wow.
So we were there for 3 months, and then we had to go back to do our 5th year of architecture. So, I mean, after being gone for a whole year in Europe, then having to go back to LA hit the books was a little bit rocky, so to speak, but really lovely to then do thesis and get that in, really into the weeds there. And when we graduated, I was like, I don't want to be in LA anymore after obviously experiencing all of that.
It makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because we were talking before sitting down, and I'm like, but it makes more sense now.
Yeah. So we really wanted to go back to London, but they weren't really allowing, talent outside of London to work in London proper. So we decided, hey, if we can't go there, let's try New York. It's a good second choice.
Yeah, why not?
And we said we'd go for like a year or two just to experience it. And I dragged Aaron there on a spring break trip and said, what do you think? He's like, okay, cool. Well, it was 2008, and we were looking down the barrel of what we all now know is a really hard time to find a job.
Yeah.
So we moved to New York without a job, and we got lucky enough to land one and proceeded to spend 5 years getting our real education in architecture and architectural interiors in New York. We got to work for some really fabulous studios there. And so that was really great.
And in a city that's super challenging to,
I mean, but so great in your 20s, right? Because you can be poor and stupid and just enjoy and, it's your playground, right?
Yeah.
But I was more meaning like the challenge of working on apartments or houses in New York. It's like that must be a steep learning curve and a real
It
experience.
was. I think, when you come out of architecture school, especially at USC and other West Coast schools or really national schools, there's a huge focus on urbanism and big picture ideas. And then when we got to New York, we ended up at a studio called Studio Sofield, Bill Sofield's office.
One of our favorite studios.
Yeah. So he gave us a very intimate education on not the opposite of urbanism. That's not the right thing to say, but it's all about the detail and how things come together, how they're made, the artisan, the textural component, right? So that was just such a big transition from that big idea urbanistic education. And I jumped in and just loved it. I mean, I was working on all the Tom Ford retail rollout. And so that was a really amazing opportunity. And then working on furniture lines and lighting lines and, McGuire and Baker and really understanding how things are built and doing shop drawings. And that was super interesting. So.
We made custom furniture for them. And they do, and that's what they do, 3D modeling of all their custom furniture before. It's insane. I mean, the detail. And he was LA based at first.
He had an LA office for a little while. He's an architect by training, but he really focuses on interiors, and they started doing a lot of larger scale development after we left. But yeah, it's just an amazing office to be a part of. So
fun.
we worked there for a while and, got our bearings in New York. And then we said, okay, we can't be there anymore. 5 years,
Yeah.
Time to rip off the Band-Aid and come home. Our family is still here. So we had gotten married while we were there and, done all of that and decided to move back and get licensed in LA and just really get reacquainted with LA as a city, because when you're in school and growing up here, it's very different than coming back and living here as, an adult and understanding the layout of the city. And
Yeah, there is something that's really important about when you live in LA, you have to leave for a minute.
yes.
And when you come back, you become so much more grateful for the city and you see it in a different way. I left LA for like nearly a year and I was like exploring. I was in Europe and traveling, and there were a bunch of other places that I'm like, oh, maybe I could live here. Maybe I could live here. And I came back to LA and I was like, no, I need to be here. Like
Yeah.
this is such an incredible city.
It's just very vibrant, but also still a little calm, right? You get to go move inward and kind of be by yourself. Whereas New York, you're, in the hustle and bustle, no matter where you are, even, inside you feel a little bit, enclosed. But in LA, we get a little bit more space, a little more expanse. We have nature right here. We have beautiful design. We have a lot of creativity. I mean, now we have great food. I would say growing up, it was very different. Like LA as a city has changed a lot in, I would say, the last 15 years especially. It rivals some of the best big cities in the country, and I think we're pretty lucky to live.
So since you came back here, when you moved back here, what did it look like then to readjust? You were just like working for this incredible firm. Like, what is it like then coming back here?
So I think it was a huge adjustment because in New York, as I said, working for some good, amazing places, it was really about the artisans and working with a lot of custom millwork and, a lot of the detailing. And when you aren't having huge structural changes working in, these buildings in the city, a lot of it is about how the interiors come together. And we had gained such an understanding and a beauty for that thought process that coming back to LA was a little bit of a shell shock, because I feel like architects in LA often focus on, this is my shell, and they forget there's things to the inside of the shell that actually make the shell so much richer.
Yeah.
And when we moved back, we decided we're going to get licensed. So we took our tests very quickly, got them out of the way, and I said, I really want to work for someone who does interiors. And that's kind of a hard ask in LA, to find someone who does architecture and interiors. And I ended up working for someone who's an amazing designer, but she actually is an interior designer and was looking for an architect to team up with and kind of have the best of both worlds. So my first job in LA was very much rooted in interior design and actually less in traditional architecture.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So how did your experience then, like when you decided to start your own firm, like how did you decide that you definitely wanted to include the interiors and architecture at the same time?
So I would say that for us, it wasn't a question of if we would do that. It just came naturally.
Yeah.
It was like not, oh, we're only going to do architecture or we're only going to do interiors. When we design, we do both simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's just baked into our process. And so when we're designing, an architectural residence or a commercial space or whatever it is, we're automatically thinking about what's happening on the inside. What is the light looking like? What is the furniture layout maybe going to be? What is the scale of that? How are people using the space? I don't think, to me, they can't be separated.
Yeah.
And even if you're working with an interior designer or you are the interior designer and you're working with a different architect, it's very much a play on those two components that you don't have to do both necessarily, but just the fact that you're thinking about both is incredibly important.
There is a little bit of an epidemic in Los Angeles of the big empty box. They may have like a beautiful staircase, but then beyond that, it's all the rooms just feel like boxes.
Yes.
And so what is something that you, like a little detail that you pay attention to that you always like to add in, or something that's like your signature detail?
I think we don't have a signature detail because
Okay, yeah.
we really go back to, we're a very customer service driven studio. And I say that not in a demeaning way, but more like it's collaborative, right? We want our clients to really feel like it's signature to them and what they want, less signature to what we're doing, right? And so being design agnostic or you know, not design agnostic, but style agnostic, really allows us to cater to what the clients want. And, you know, someone can come to us and say, hey, I really love a beautiful Spanish style home, or I really love a mid-century modern, or I really love, you know, a high modern, high gloss, all the things.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, great. That's just a different design problem. It's not something that we have to say, oh no, but we always include this one thing.
Yeah.
And that gives us leeway and flexibility to really be able to work with clients of very different styles. And it keeps us interested in design holistically.
Yeah.
And really studying all these different styles and being able to put our own spin on them is pretty interesting.
So speaking of the different styles that you encounter as an architect and designer in Los Angeles, you are a part of the Case Study 2.0 project.
Yes.
So tell me about how you got involved and a little bit about what the project is. We've had another guest that talked about this too, or two other guests that have talked about it, but we are fascinated by it and so excited about it. So tell me more.
It's an amazing opportunity. That's really the start of it. We have a great relationship with Crest Real Estate. Steven Summers and Aaron and Jason, for that matter, they actually went to school together a number of years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so they do amazing work, obviously, in the real estate space and the permit expediting space. And we work with them hand in hand on a lot of our projects, getting through, you know, all the fun jurisdictional tape that we get to do as architects. And so we, you know, obviously they knew we worked in Palisades a lot pre-fire and really understand how to navigate building in the area and understand the clients that build there. After the fires happened, they reached out to a bunch of amazing roster of architects and, you know, floated this idea and said there was a Zoom, and we were looking at the Zoom list and we were like, we feel like the babies in this room. Like, this is just a little overwhelming. It's a pinch me moment of like, you know, all of these great names and really being able to be part of the opportunity. They said, okay, well, you know, this is what we're thinking. If you guys are interested, just let us know by, you know, it was 2 weeks or something. And Aaron and I were like, well, we're really busy, but we can't not do this. This is just too good of an opportunity, one, to give back to the community, right? And two, also, I mean, we're from LA, so so familiar with the case study program and all the history of it, and being part of USC, and obviously, you know, how they've partake over history in the program, and just understanding, you know, the architectural history of everything. That, how could you say no to that? So we decided, yes, we want to be part of the program, and signed up, and the amount of people and the outreach just started growing and growing from the original people that they reached out to. I think there was just, you know, so many people were like, I want to be part of this. It's such an amazing, I mean, you know, to be able to design something with a lot of ideas buzzing around in your head, but rooting it to solving some very specific problems is a really great thing that a lot of us haven't done in so many years, because when we're designing for our clients' needs. I don't want to say we're not solving problems, we are, but they're very specific problems for them in their lives, right? Yeah. We're not necessarily solving problems for a community. And the future of architecture in the area. And so when we started, we said, okay, we don't want to just dive into designing. We really want to take it almost from like an anthropology perspective and really think like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we trying to solve for very macro, right, picture and go from there.
I think that was also Jamie's point, which is, fantastic. It's also not that I wish any other area to have that kind of disaster, but it's also a framework probably for other regions in the country if and when they would be hit by be it a hurricane, a fire, or
It's just getting more and more of an everyday story, not an abnormal story anymore, which is so scary.
It is so scary.
What you're doing is definitely it goes beyond just the Palisades. It could be a movement that helps other areas too.
Yeah.
When you were working on your design, what was the inspiration for the design that you came up with?
So, we sat down actually over the weekend because we were very busy, and we brought some people from the studio in, and we had all the kids running around, and we actually had Elyse in our office. She does a lot of the interior. She came, and Becky, another project manager in our office, and we sat there and we just brainstormed for a number of hours, and we were just like, okay. We had actually, Lisa had brought different cards and Post-its, and we were just writing, big picture ideas and creating diagrams. It was not at all about plan or program. It was very much about who is living in these spaces and what are we trying to do as a community. And especially in Palisades, having designed there for a number of years, understanding this is a very tight-knit community.
Absolutely, yeah.
And as is Altadena. And that's really kind of the really interesting juxtaposition. These are two very established neighborhoods in LA. And there's a lot of families that have lived in each respectively for generations.
Yeah.
And so they do have that really interesting overlap. Maybe very different populations, maybe different types of people. One is maybe, more West Side versus East Side, right? We all know those are two very different populations.
Different cultures, yes.
But just really understanding that these are family neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
So we're not talking about just young families. We're talking about aging in place and multi-generational living and just a lot of different ideas about that. And then also community spaces. And in LA, you have your plot of land, right?
Yeah.
And everyone has hedges around it, and everyone is a little insular. And there is a benefit to that, right? Like we said in the beginning, in LA, you get to kind of go in and be quiet and reflect and be calm in your own space. But I think that there is also this idea of community where we want to connect to our neighbors, right? And we didn't previously as much. But I think now through this experience, a lot of these people are now starting to really connect with their neighbors through, unfortunately shared trauma in this situation. But
exactly.
Moving forward, what does that look like? And what are the opportunities that we have in that situation? So we talked about all of these things and we settled on the idea of a combination of the benefits of defensible space in a landscape forum, right?
Okay,
the idea of how landscape and open space works as a fire block.
Yeah.
And then also marrying the idea of California living indoor-outdoor experience as well as the idea of community and maybe even breaking the mold of we all live in our plot of land, but what if we took out the fence between the two and we had multi-generational living across different plots and we could actually create big courtyards and the idea of that, or staggering buildings, staggering spaces, because having gone up there, up to Palisades after the fire, post-fire, you really get a sense of it's very eerie. The fire just barreled through all the homes, but then all the greenery behind and in front is completely intact.
Wow.
And that really gave me pause of like, there is this moment that Palisades was loved for its lush greenery.
Yeah.
Right.
And we don't want to take it away. We want to do it responsibly. So how do we kind of bake that into the architectural layout on a very narrow 50-foot lot?
Yeah.
So that's really the impetus of our submission.
The houses are one thing, but you know, the community, the businesses and all that stuff. So is that also part of the conversation?
So there are so many movements, grassroots, and also, you know, politically driven, city driven, all of these different people. LA really banded together to create, you know, help in both the immediate, but also in the future planning. And so there are, you know, there's the Palisades Coalition, there's a Builders Alliance, there's Case Study Adapt, Case Study 2.0. There in Altadena, there's the Foothill Collective. And then there are also different components of like people on the grassroots level organizing block captains and really understanding all these different things. There's Steadfast in Palisades, you know, being put on and really trying to reinvigorate the urban corridor and getting a little bit more density down on Sunset and those areas. Trying to make more accessible space, more walkable space, and also the idea that you can live where you work. So the idea of workforce housing, maybe teachers and, you know, other people that wouldn't necessarily live in the neighborhood wouldn't be able to, they will have a place hopefully to go live. And so densifying the urban corridor, so to speak, which LA is hard to determine that Sunset is an urban corridor, but you know, they're talking about trying to get it there. So there are a lot of combinations. I think as architects, we want to solve for so many problems, but what we have to really do is focus so that we can solve for Case Study 2.0 will solve for one problem, and then Steadfast will solve for another problem. And then all of these people will come together, and hopefully within a few years, we'll have a new looking Palisades, a new looking Altadena.
Future looking. Two neighborhoods that will hopefully be future looking for and a roadmap for other places in the country. And
the tagline is Build Back Better, which everyone keeps, you know, saying as a mantra, but I think it's catchy, yes, but there's something really to be said about we want to do this fast, we want to do it efficiently, but we also really want to make sure that we're doing it better. We're not just putting back what was there before.
Exactly.
Yes, we want to be historically, you know, cognizant of what was designed before so that we're not creating all these modern cold boxes or, you know, cookie cutter developments. That's not the goal. But we also want to make sure that we're solving for what does future weather look like? What does future fire look like? What does future community look like? Infrastructure. I mean, all of it. It's a big task.
I think that's the beauty about it is that, and the fear was at first, and talking to a few people that are involved, you know, the fear was that it was going to be built back worse. And so the fight to build back better, I mean, I get the
verdict's still out. I mean, hopefully, hopefully it will be
but
better.
I think that the effort is really good for that because, you know, the fear was to have, you know, big boxers come up, you know, developers trying to make, you know, so I think that we'll see where it lands, but the effort is coming up.
And also the thing that I really love about it is that it is taking into consideration the history of the neighborhood, what that neighborhood looked like, and trying to preserve a part of that while also growing into the future and helping to create something that's going to be safer given whatever the weather or the climate does here. So what are some major differences that you've noticed in the design for like the one that you're doing or for other architects to make things more fire safe?
So they're all so different.
Okay.
It's really interesting. It's kind of harkens back to being in school and doing a design charrette where when you're in school and you're in studio, you're working side by side to your neighbor. So you kind of know what everyone's doing to a certain extent. You're driving ideas together. In this situation, it was like a black box. We were all designing. It was very fast. We were trying to churn them out so that, you know, they could go out into the world. But you didn't necessarily know what anyone else was doing. And there's a freeness to that, but there's also a big weight to it. Like, oh my gosh, is this good? Like, what are we doing? This is a really big deal. So I think that it is mind-boggling how many different designs came out of 40 plus offices.
Yeah.
And how varying in shape, style, detail they are. But they all have ideas of fire hardening because, of course, that's part of the conversation that needs to be solved for. These are part of the problems that we're going to be facing moving forward. And for us, it was a lot of conversation about what are the materials we're specifying, right? Are they Class A rated? You can get very, very nitty gritty. We designed ours to not have any eaves. This is something that's, big in conversation right now. And there has to be a balance because obviously with a lot of historical architecture, you don't want to lop off the leaves. That's what made them so beautiful to begin with. So there's other ways to do that. And I think, some of the more historical designs that were submitted, Spanish style, et cetera, they did do things like that. But there's also a lot of conversation in some of the forms that people put forth of what does a fire hardened home look like, or one of a colleague that we're friends with, she designed a home that is one big fountain in essence, right? It's all about water. And someone else designed, this pyramid looking piece that really turns inward, and you can see just from its form, like, oh yeah, maybe it doesn't say, oh, this is fire hardened, right? But for someone who understands maybe what the goal is, I'm like, oh yeah, that's really interesting.
Wow, yeah.
So everyone did it in a very different way, but they all incorporate it.
Yeah.
How has it been to be part of that community? Because we talked to someone from New York a couple of days ago who was like, I don't know, they just moved here and they can't quite get into the design and our design community. And we're like, no, it's a big one and it's a fun one. How has it been for you?
It is so big and so small simultaneously,
Yeah.
right? Because there are so many designers, and you'll go somewhere and they'll be like, oh, have you heard of this person? And you're like, wait, no. But then you look at them, you're like, oh, no, I know them. I know them. Maybe I just don't know their name. But I think that it is... in LA in particular, I find the design community very accepting of everyone, that we're very open to new blood, and it's a little bit more of a wild, wild west. I think in New York, there's this
Big
concept
players,
of big players. Wait, where did you come from? Who have you designed for, et cetera, et cetera. But here, people don't ask you those types of questions. They're just like, oh, you do good work? Cool. Okay, great. Awesome. Like, what does your daily design practice look like? I think we're a much more accepting bunch, and I really enjoy that. And especially in the post-fire world, everyone's really come together and been a really great source of information and collaboration, and just figuring out how we're all going to get through this together.
Like, do you ever work with another interior designer that's like not in-house?
Oh yeah, we do that all the time. We
Yeah.
collaborate. I would say we don't do interiors on every project. It's really nice to collaborate sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that two different brains,
Yeah.
jiving off of each other. We've had some really fabulous collaborations over the years we've been working. We've worked with Pearson Ward a few times, and that's been a really fun collaboration. And I think also other designers really enjoy that we speak their language, right? We have the background, and I know what a ripple fold is and double rub is and all these, things that I would say most architects probably just don't understand. But because we were so embedded in the world of interiors for so long, we get the benefit of, we don't want to step on their toes. We want to speak the same language and be able to instill their ideas into the architecture as much as we're instilling the architecture into their ideas, and vice versa.
That's so cool. That's really great. And I feel like that sort of collaboration is something that happens in LA quite a bit. That's something that we've talked to a lot of designers about, working with other designers and building that relationship, supporting each other, because it doesn't need to be such a competition all the time.
Oh, it's
maybe you
not.
didn't get somebody else got the job or got this one client. There's another client around the corner. There always is.
And although it's harder to say when you're first starting, I think a few years down the line, you realize, oh, that happened for a reason.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I
exactly.
was not meant
Exactly.
to do that project,
Yeah.
or that was not a good match or fit client-wise. And it opened up opportunity for me to do something else that I was really meant to do.
Yeah.
So I think when you're starting and you're like, oh, that was such a good opportunity, I missed out on it. And then you realize, like, no, that was for a reason.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that what's fun in LA is also the communication that we all have. Because I come from, obviously interior design, but also, the furniture part, making furniture. And today I had a meeting with a designer, and, we had coffee. And it's something that I'm starting to see the quality of those relationships. And it's been really fun because we're helping to solve, part of your problems too.
You have to be able to pick up the phone and ask someone. And if you don't know who to pick up the phone to call, you need to know someone who knows who to pick up the phone to call. And so the idea that you need this really big network because there's so many things to solve for all the time.
Yeah.
Is huge. And for us, I think that was the hardest part of coming back to LA, was the fact that we had left our network in New York.
Right.
And we had to rekindle older relationships, from people we went to school with here, or, collaborators that we had worked with here before. And that took a long time to build up. But at this point, we love being able to meet new people, but then also love being able to be like, I talked to this person 5 years ago. They probably don't remember who I am, but I'm going to call them anyway and be like, you were an expert in this thing. What are your thoughts? And you know what? 10 times out of 10, they love that you called them.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yes, I can impart my knowledge and I can do something to help you. I'm all in.
Okay, so we are going to have lunch very soon. So I've let you know that there are 3 questions that I ask for all of our guests. So I want to get into those. My first question is, what is the messiest place in your home?
Which might be a little unfair for you because
Yes.
you have a big family.
Yes. So I thought about this, and I know that a lot of people are like, oh, my junk drawer. And yes, I have a junk drawer, believe me. But it is unfair because it is definitely my children's closet.
Yeah,
like there's
naturally.
no way around it. And no matter how much time I spend going up and picking up after them or asking them to clean up, it's just no hope.
And this
There's
is
no hope.
4 kids then? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a mission impossible.
Yeah. And for a long time when we had 2 kids, people would come into our home and be like, wow, it's so amazing. You have toys nowhere. Like, we don't actually know you have kids if your kids are sleeping. And we loved that because we love to like unwind at night and just really, kid toy palettes, they're not the most beautiful, as you know, when we're working on right now. But then when the twins came along, we realized that doesn't work very well anymore. So we still put everything away every night and make sure, our main space is pretty clean, but their spaces, there's no hope.
It changes so fast too.
Yeah.
Meaning that, it's like the oldest is 9, right?
Yeah, yes.
So it's like
she's already a mini adult.
Right.
Yeah.
She's, in 4 years.
Or she thinks she is.
Yeah, in 4 years she'll be like, do I really have to stay living at home, Mom? But it's true that, it's that change. So it's like, a little bit of a mess.
Yeah.
For a few years, it's really not.
It's okay. And you know what? Aaron and I are very type A. Everything has a space. Everything, is meant to be very clean and organized and tidy. And even when our moms come in and help, they're like, oh, we can't leave a dish in the sink. This is just too much. But kids don't get that.
No.
They don't understand.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
Okay, my second question for you is, when you walk into a new place or into a new space, what is the first thing that you notice?
So I thought about that and I realized that there is no one thing that I noticed.
Okay.
It's much more about how I feel in my body when I'm walking into a space.
Oh, I like that.
And it's really about temperature and light. How comfortable am I? Or is there a lot going on? Is there a little going on? And just how in that nanosecond of when you first walk in, your mood either completely changes or doesn't, or for the good or for the bad, right? and how that space is shaping that moment for me.
Wow.
So you're number 2 in a row with that
Yeah.
similar
Yeah.
answer.
Oh, really?
Thing. Yeah. We need to do a recap.
We'll do
a
for
recap.
for our 1 year anniversary of the show. We'll do
but
a
it's
recap of everyone.
fantastic
But yeah,
because
that's amazing. I like that though, that you're talking about how it feels in your body when you walk into a space.
Yeah.
That it's not just a one thing. And I really appreciate that. I think you might be the only person who said that. That like that it's not, some people will say like it's the smell or it's one sense or it's like the one thing that you see or like a detail
And
or
all
something.
those definitely make up
Right, but
everything.
it's-
But it's how it's making you feel,
I
right?
love that.
And everyone experiences things differently. So, in lighting, some people really love very warm light. It makes them feel like they're getting a hug, right? But other people come in and want to throw all the downlights on and you're like, I started shaking, but for them, that's what's comfortable.
I am the exact same way.
Yeah.
If like overhead lights, the recessed lights, like if only like down lighting is on, I feel so uncomfortable.
Right. It
I
makes
want
your
to
skin
leave.
crawl.
Yes, I can't
Yeah.
stand it. Yeah. I'm immediately so irritable. I'm not a nice person.
Yeah. And so it's the same when you walk
Yeah.
when you walk into a space, you're going to have a different perception,
Yeah.
but it's going to make you feel different in your body.
it's funny. I have the dream of lighting up this apartment with just candles sometimes.
I know. Oh,
Well,
You know,
yeah.
'cause-
you have
That's
though,
the
haven't you?
best.
I have,
You had to
well,
for
I had to.
It was not a choice.
We did the electrical is
Yeah.
from the 20s and
Knob and tube.
it blew and so suddenly we were all with
This
candles
was
and everybody
amazing.
loved it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
so funny because I was a little traumatized and everybody's like, it's so nice here, and I'm like,
It's because there's no power.
it is
Like,
nice.
do you?
There's no power
There's
and
also
candles
no
everywhere.
music playing or anything. But it was for So Laurent puts on a huge holiday party every year. You have to come this year. It's spectacular.
I would love to.
Yeah, you'll be on the invite list. Don't fret. But so he puts on this big party, and it was like the whole space. There was another space that we used as well, and I was like helping to get everything like organized and part hosting it. And at one point, I come into the side, and I'm like, there's just candle like this. It felt calm. It felt really cool. It felt a little sexier in here. I'm like, what's going on over here? Oh, it like the fuse blew. But, but it was wonderful.
The
it was
only
great.
thing
yeah.
that really affects is if you're cooking. Then
Right,
you're
yes.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
you wanna-
no. The lighting can be solved. The temperature can be solved.
Yeah.
Blankets go a really long way. Especially in LA, you're good to
Yes.
go.
You're good to
but
go.
the cooking, that's a little more complicated.
Yeah, we had to run a couple extension cords
Yeah,
to the
yeah.
places in the apartment that
Oh, that's
we're still
yeah.
at,
Yeah.
It was a fun time though. It was good. It was good. Anyway, we're so totally off on a tangent. We're gonna move to the last question now. The last question is, what is your favorite space, either in your own home or in a home that you designed?
So I have favorite spaces in every home that we've designed. So I don't think that for that I'll go into each one, but in our own home, there are two things that come to mind. One is that we have a skylight in our bathroom above our shower, and
nice.
it hits the glass of the shower perfectly around 2 p.m. every day. We get a rainbow somewhere either on the wall or the floor, and every time I walk in there, it makes me happy. No matter what's going on, that's kind of like a sign that life goes on, or it's really about the beauty of the moment. And it's literally a moment. It's not very long. And then the other spaces, we're the crazy architects that designed our home around a tree.
I love that.
So it's the yard. We bought our lot from a gentleman who unfortunately had passed, but he was an arborist for many years. And so he'd bring back all of these specimens that he had curated. And when we bought the house, before we renovated, we had a huge canopy in the backyard. If you look from Google Earth, it's just like green. We had, I think, 12 different species of trees. And we couldn't save them all because some of them were no good anymore, and some of them, unfortunately, had to go for the addition. But it was very important to keep some of these trees. And so we carved a courtyard basically around a tree, and then it connected the deck in the rear. And I just love being outside and hanging out in the backyard, which an architect says the backyard is the best space in their house. Yeah. Obviously, maybe that's not the great moment for me, but for me, it really is just being outside and seeing that tree and
I think it's
all its knowledge of the last 30 years it's been alive.
Yeah.
wow.
There was the house that I grew up in. We had this huge tree that grew between like where the driveway was and where like the entrance, the back entrance of the house was. And when I was a little kid, I remember like my sisters and I could, all of us, if we put our arms around it, like we could all touch it. Like it was such a huge tree. It was one of the biggest in the neighborhood.
That's crazy.
And it was so beautiful. And I'm a real sucker for trees. Like that's one of my secret nerdy little things. Like I love trees. So having something like that incorporated into architecture, I'm obsessed with. And whenever I see something that's like built around a tree, it makes me so happy. I love that.
It was a very big part of the renovation, and being scared the whole time of like, okay, we know we have to cut the roots because we have to put the foundations in, but we have to get the special guy who's the expert at cutting the roots, and then the guy who does the vitamins after we cut them to make sure the tree is happy and it's okay.
Wow, yeah.
And it was a huge learning experience for me of just like understanding. I mean, I've always loved trees, but when you get someone who's an expert in what they do, they come to talk to you, and he was, explaining to me how the trees talk underground and how we're all connected and they're connected.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so interesting.
Someone else I know talks to trees.
Listen, we'll get into it later, but I love trees. And yes, they do all talk to each other using mycelia. It's fine. Anyway,
Yes.
it has been such a joy to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and I really love talking to you. And what do you have coming up? So wait, the case study launch is tomorrow, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's on the 26th of June.
The moment of truth.
When this comes out, it will have already launched. So we're excited to sort of catch up with you when we put this out. We'll give a little update. But what else do you have happening? What should we look out for?
I mean, case study was a big push. I think that kept us busy for a while. We have just a lot of projects that we're doing rebuilds on, and that's been a really big thing in our studio. But I would say the next biggest thing besides that is we have a event space opening up in a historic building in San Diego in the end of the summer. And so that will be a really big one. It's been a labor of love for a number of years.
Oh, nice.
Wow, that's really cool.
Where do we find, so where do we find you?
It's going to be at the headquarters. It's in the old police headquarters.
Oh, wow.
In
Okay.
San Diego. And so it's right by the port, and it should be really interesting once it comes out.
Yeah,
it's going to be
that's
great.
awesome. Well, I'll definitely keep an eye out for that. Give us your website, your Instagram. Where should people find you?
Website, AAHA.studio, and Instagram is AAHA_studio. So pretty simple. We like to keep it not too crazy, so it's easy to find us, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I can't say we're too good at updating it very often, but that's a problem for another day.
Yeah. That's when the kids go to college. That's suddenly you're like,
Right.
I have all that time. What am I going to do? A new website.
Thank you so much. Let's get to lunch, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you
sounds
so
good.
much.
Thank you for
you.
having me.